Okay, so don't stress over buying your new home. Maybe it's your first new home. Just don't stress about it. Yeah, I know. It's easy to say, right? There's a lot of things that stress, but my favorite thing to tell people as a realtor is organization and planning ahead is the best thing you could do. And I know you're watching this going, yeah. Now don't click away. I know that maybe you've heard it before, but the day you find out that you're in a house and you're like, I love this house so much. Honey, can we put in an offer? When that moment happens, you just want to know that you're going to get the house. And maybe you think there's 3 or 4 other people that are going to vie for that house, but you want to know it's 99.999 assured that you're going to get the house. And this is how you do it. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, I talk about stress a lot because you know how there's the list of the top most stressful things for people: divorce, death, taxes, all that stuff. Well, buying a house is one of them. But working with a realtor way ahead of time who can help you plan, and think will get rid of 40 to 50% of that stress. And this is how you do it. I'm all about the binder system, like a binder, like this binder right here. I know it might be old fashioned for those of you that keep track of things on your phone now, on your phone notes, like I do. But honestly, when you can flip open a binder and you're at the kitchen table eating dinner and the conversation starts to revolve around buying a house, right? You're like, I don't even know where to start. You have, I don't know, 12 flyers from all the open houses you've been going to, and you've been watching YouTube videos and you're kind of out of your mind. This is what you do. Just get a skinny binder, okay? Get a skinny binder and get some pocket dividers and divide it into lending, neighborhoods we love, and miscellaneous. And that's all you need. I hope you have a 3-hole punch. If you don't, just shove it in there, okay? Because there's going to be a lot of thinking. Oh, and make a section for credit and lending and money. Okay. Now, here's a big tip. Start the lending brain first. All right. Do it a year ahead of time. Get going on it and meet with a lender. When you meet with a lender, you're going to learn all kinds of stuff. Meet with the lender again 2 or 3 months later. Say, okay, we have some new questions. Go back and meet with that lender, whether it's a Zoom call or sitting at their desk or at a coffee shop. Meet with them maybe 1 or 2 times, or more importantly, get a lender who you can call 30 times before you're ready to buy your house, because you're going to want to call them. You're going to be thinking while you're driving, you're going to be thinking at the dinner table. It's going to keep you up at night, but the lender will calm your brain. You will begin to look and see, like, we have this much money for a down payment. We're taking a little bit of money from our 401k, which takes 2 months or so to come into your bank account. Anita and the lender talked about seasoning our money. Maybe you inherited money at Christmas time, or you inherited it, okay, this year or last year, and you want to use it as a down payment, okay? So you're starting to put all these chunks together, and the lender's kind of answering all your questions one by one, chiseling them off. Maybe you're asking those questions 3 and 4 and 5 times. Some of them you're going to go, these don't pertain to me. This one pertains to me. Were you a vet? Did you serve in the military? Great way to buy a house without having to save 1 cent. Your down payment will be paid for you. But there's things you got to do. Mostly it's things that the seller of the house has to do. They have to give you that house in nearly perfect shape, which is really cool. So they have to qualify to sell you a house with a VA loan. All right. There's all kinds of first-time buyer programs. Some of them are hero programs where if you're a teacher or a firefighter or a police officer or a sheriff, you can have a nice chunk of money given to you either through your realtor, or there's other programs that help out with maybe the closing costs. Now, I have tons of videos on closing costs. I'm not going to get into that today in this video. You want to know what closing costs are, because it costs money to borrow money and it costs money for everybody to put you through this transaction. The escrow company and the title company, and there's fees. I would say to round it out about $9,000 it's going to cost you. But what if you could get some help with that money? It comes in all different ways. I'm not going to get into that either in this video. I have other videos on that. But there's special programs and special ways that you can have that chiseled down. $9,000, maybe you only end up spending $4,000 on your closing costs. Okay, so there's components, and you're going to start putting them together. If you're going to open houses, you want to save all those pretty flyers that you picked up and put them out on the kitchen table once in a while. Maybe paper clip them or staple them together in the different neighborhoods with the different cities. Now, I know you can look at the Z word and you can Google all you want to look at different kinds of houses, but it feels good to have kind of the paper in hand sometimes when you're like, yeah, remember we went to that house over there on 404 Washington? It was really cute. It had dang near everything we wanted. It helps you remember when it's in your hand. And this all matters to your realtor, who eventually is going to get you down the road to getting you keys to your own home. So a little bit of binder action, collecting things in there, even printing things out that your lender is sending you and stuff like that is really going to help. Now, your lender's going to talk about all the different kinds of loans, different kinds of programs. They're going to coach you on seasoning your money. So if you're pulling money from Schwab or mom and dad's giving you money or something like that, that money has to be in your bank account before we get into escrow, because banks don't like it when $100,000, $200,000, $50,000 just land in your bank account right before you're gonna go buy a big thing like a house. It's a red flag, okay? So you want to season your money. Super, super important. So your lender will talk about that. They'll also talk about the many, many things, which I'm going to list below in the description section, okay? I'm going to list below the 7 or 10 things to never, ever do when you're going to buy a house, especially when you're really live hunting. Like you got all these ducks lined up, it's 5 months later, and you and your realtor are like doing it. You're out looking at houses and it's happening. It is not a time to go buy a car or a couch or a washer and dryer. No spending any money on your credit cards while the bank is giving you $500,000 or $250,000. Don't do it. It's a red flag. They watch your spending as soon as you go into escrow. That officer is trying to package a loan for you, and you need it to happen because you're in escrow and you just fell in love with that house. Okay? There's a million ways to mess up getting a house right in the heat of the battle. Okay, you've made the offer, they accepted the offer, and bing, 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 2 weeks later, you go decide to buy a house and they won't lend you, you go to buy a couch or a car, which happened to some of my clients, and no one would lend them money. Don't do stuff like that. Look at the ducks lined up thing that I have below this video, because you don't want to make those mistakes. So your lender is going to talk to you about the whole picture of lending. You're going to learn new terms, so you might want to bring your binder with you or get really good at your thumbs on your phone, because you're going to want to know what amortization is and some of the other terms that are used in the world of lending, all right? And the more you start soaking this up and processing it, the more relaxed you're going to be and not stressed when you actually make an offer and it's accepted, because you'll know the lender's moving you through this process that you're now familiar with, okay? And we're going through the escrow process. So meet with a lender one time and then many times, and make sure you find one that you can talk to as many times as you need to, so that you're like, okay, now we can relax and buy a house. It's stressful. Not going to say it's not, but you can move through it and you'll be like, oh yeah, my realtor told me about that. My lender told me about that. Okay, this is going to happen. All right. Your lender only has 21 days to package your loan after escrow opens. So things have to happen expeditiously. And if for any reason, either they can't package your loan, or you bought a car, or you decide you just don't like the house. It could be as plain as that. You can get out of your offer and your contract within 17 days as a default. Sometimes it's quicker. So I won't get into that. But so there's ways to get out of your offer on your house. But there's definitely two ways. One is when you can't get the loan. And the second one is when you decide for any reason, whether the investigations weren't going well, the inspections, I mean, if those weren't going well, or they didn't turn out and, there was too much to repair, let's just say, you're like, we're walking from this house. It's pretty on the outside, but not on the underneath side. You can get out. Okay. So the lender's going to educate you, and then your realtor's going to educate you, and they're going to tell you about the whole process in an hour and a half at their office, or maybe through a Zoom call, what you're going to experience when you buy a home and what's really going to happen as soon as an offer is accepted, because it's a whole bunch. And let's just say you made an offer, and we have inspectors go do a pest inspection and a home inspection, and there's 10 grand worth of repairs and the seller's not going to repair. Now you need to make decisions, and you can't take a week to make these decisions. You kind of have to do it right away, not in a day. You've got a few days, but we have to talk about what to do with that information. Okay, it has 3 cracked windows and termites in the fascia. Okay, does 10 grand scare you? Maybe you're a contractor or a handyman and you're like, I'll fix it. No big deal. Maybe, and this is what happens a lot of times, the seller will say, you know what? I'll give you a $10,000 credit towards your closing cost. That's the best thing ever. When the seller gives you credit towards your closing costs, which you were praying for anyway, right? Because closing costs are expensive. So now they chisel that away and you hardly have any closing costs, and you'll have the money to make the little repairs. Okay. So you're not scared anymore about this house that has a few wee little issues. You're going to move forward with purchasing the home, right? So that's cool. So you see how the picture's going here? The more you know, the more you watch this video, you're like, I didn't know what I didn't know. Well, that's why you sit down with a realtor and you kind of learn the whole picture. So your realtor will tell you a picture, your lender will tell you a picture, and then you throw in what you're doing, your money situation, your credit situation, your experience. Have you purchased a house before? What's your timeline? You tell the realtor your world and what you want out of it. And then it starts to all kind of melt together. And as it melts together, you go, okay, I'm excited. Let's really go look for houses. We have our lender kind of working on things, pre-qualifying us. The realtors got us all in the groove of like what's going to happen. And our money situation is good. We have a down payment. Remember, you can buy a house for 3% down. 3 times 900,000 is 18,000. Plus, let's throw in 9 or 10 for those closing costs, 20,000, 30,000, 25, 30,000 in your earnest money, or the money that you pitch in. Okay, your down payment can be 3%. You don't have bananas in your ears. It doesn't have to be 20%. I have whole videos on this, okay? Go down to my watch list, all right? You can buy a house with an FHA loan for as little as 3%. All right, write that down right now, 3%. Look it up, read about it, okay? 30 grand. You don't need 190 grand, 200 grand, you don't. You're going to pay what's called PMI on it though, private mortgage insurance, for a little bit. No worries. You can refinance your house after you buy it, and that private mortgage insurance will go away. Pretty good deal, right? So you got to kind of start processing this stuff early. I know I'm repeating, but a lot of times people get excited and they go fall in like with the house. They can't have the house because they're not ready, and then they never really look again. They're a renter for another 7 years. I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to buy a house, and I want you to be happy with it, and I want you to sleep at night knowing that your mortgage is fine and you can afford it. And all the things that your realtor and the lender told you were going to happen, you moved right through them and sailed on. And you got yourself your keys to your own front door. That's the goal here, is to kind of enjoy yourself, have a blast, and that all comes from being prepared and organized and well-informed along the way. And the realtors that are on the front line and the lenders that are on the front line doing this every day will get you through the process, and you'll have fun, and you won't be as nervous making those decisions when the inspections happen and all that stuff. It'll cruise along and you'll enjoy yourself. So that's what I wish for you when you go to buy your new home. My number is there if you're buying in Sonoma County, California. I'd love to help you out. And that's it. The next video is coming up right there. Oh, by the way, if you're digging on this video, hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up.